With the second half about to begin, the commentators note how the first half was an upset, with Blue Lock taking the lead. Both were incredibly excited for what can happen in the second half. As Rin and Isagi walk onto the field, Rin notices that the demon himself, SHIDOU Ryusei, has been subbed into the game. SHIDOU sees Rin and walks over, confronting him immediately. He begins by hurling insults at him, and he starts stating that his time as the number one is over. Isagi tries to interject, but Rin replies by saying that he's right and he needs to step up his game, and he would do that by crushing SHIDOU, with SHIDOU saying right back at him. The commentators note that SHIDOU has been subbed into the game and that they have no idea who he is. Henri comments that the Japan under-20s have changed their formation, with SHIDOU playing as the sole striker for the team, and she asks Ego how they're going to respond to this, and Ego tells her that nothing will change because the team have already practiced for facing SHIDOU in the match. He believes that the under-20 coach wouldn't know how to use SHIDOU and that Blue Lock wouldn't fall so easily, but he does wonder how SHIDOU will perform due to him being the only player in Blue Lock who was very difficult to control, and that was who Saitoshi picked. This will be the match where they'll finally see just what kind of egoist SHIDOU Ryusei is. The second half finally begins and the under-20 team is in possession of the ball. Nico analyzes SHIDOU's weapon and he's fully aware of his scoring prowess within the goal zone. With the threat he poses, he can't let him out of his sight and he is intent on hunting him down at all costs. SHIDOU is exhilarated to be playing and he starts running randomly on the field, cutting past his opponents and his own teammates. SHIDOU's movements are ignoring the formations of the Blue Lock 11 and the under-20s. To SHIDOU, football isn't about 11 versus 11, it's him against everybody else, 1 versus 21. Side kicks a narrow long pass to SHIDOU which even Nico couldn't detect. The ball perfectly finds SHIDOU and Chigri runs in to mark him. SHIDOU taunts him and Sendo appears right behind, calling for a pass. With Chigri confused, SHIDOU passes the ball to Sendo and they initiate a 1-2 pass attack, moving past the speedster. Chigri notes that Sendo is playing differently compared to the first half. He's acting as a support for SHIDOU, just like how Rin and Isagi performed in the first half. But in this case, the Blue Lock players were not expecting this combination. With the Blue Lock defense broken, Sendo passes the ball straight towards Saitoshi. With Sai in possession of the ball, he observes the field of play and all of the players in his view, and without hesitation moves in to kick the ball in the form of a shot, but he instead does a long range pass which spins straight towards the goal zone, and SHIDOU shakes off Chigri and lunges into the air, prepared to score, saying how he likes it when Sai challenges him. Isagi thinks to himself how the under-20 offense has dramatically improved with SHIDOU on the field. Just as SHIDOU is about to shoot, Nico in the very last second intercepts the pass. Nico's last second interception turned into a foul because he kicked SHIDOU's foot while they were in mid-air. Nico is then issued a yellow card, and the commentators note that despite the foul, the link-up play between Sai and SHIDOU was impressive. SHIDOU is frustrated with Nico's tackle and insults him, and Nico replies saying that he mistook him for a bug. SHIDOU prepares to attack him, but Sai intervenes, telling him to stop, otherwise he'll get a red card. If he wants to prove his worth, he should do it by scoring. SHIDOU calms down and calls Sai considerate. Isagi and Gagomaru go to help up Nico, and they both congratulate him for his defense. Nico responds by telling them that even though he could see everything, he still wasn't able to stop SHIDOU. Nico explains that he was able to simultaneously see where the ball was and where it was going, and he was able to pinpoint the most dangerous spot on the pitch, but it was Sendo who threw him off with his strategic movements near SHIDOU, which served as a constant distraction to Nico. Isagi is astonished by Nico's vision, but he sees him grabbing his ankle and asks him if he's alright. Nico tells Isagi that it doesn't matter and that he still wants to continue playing. He then confesses to Isagi that even though he's frustrated that he wasn't chosen to play as a striker, he now realized something: how fun it is to crush strikers while playing defense, and that's why they're going to win. He then thanks Isagi for helping him to change. A free kick is given to the under-20s and Sai and SHIDOU are at the kick point with all of the other players in their positions. SHIDOU tells Sai that he wants to kick the ball since Sai's kick might get intercepted by Rin, who will be able to read him. Sai responds by saying to Shido that since there are so many players clustered within the penalty area, there is no reasonable area for him to shoot at. Shido tells him to shut the f up and says that he earned this kick. Sai asks him that if that's really the best option, and he then explains that between the play that's possible and the play that's ideal, the target point must be as close as possible between those two scenarios. Sai tells him to imagine his best possible goal. Shido then replies saying that he just thought of a new super move and asks Sai if he could keep up. The time to dream is now, demon. Fall under my spell. Shido gets excited and prepares to kick the ball, and he feints past it while Sai gets ready to attack. Chigri immediately starts running to mark Shido, thinking that Sai's next move will be a pass because of where Shido is dashing towards. Shido is heading for a spot where he'll be free and unmarked. There he'll wait for a pass, but Chigri will not allow that to happen on his watch. Sai kicks an ultra fast pass. Chigri was able to predict their combination, but he notices that Shido wasn't even looking at the ball, so he tries to intercept the incoming ball with a headbutt, but he misses the ball just by an inch. Shido, however, takes notice of the opportunity and he jumps into the air over Chigri. He kicks the ball with such tremendous force and power, it flies all over the defenders' heads and enters the net. The chemical reaction sparked between Sai and Shido has now tied the score to 2-2. After Shido nets his first goal, the whole stadium erupts in a thunderous applause, with the likes of Aiku praising the teamwork of Sai and Shido. An electric atmosphere fills the stadium, and one of the commentators is left in sheer astonishment of Shido's goal. Shido basks in the cheers of the crowd, completely overwhelmed with joy and adoration from the spectators. Shido is high off this feeling and has an intense arousal in the moment, but Sai reminds him that they've only tied the game and that he shouldn't blow his load just yet.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
The Blue Lock players voice their frustration at the play just now, and they note how Sai and Shido's chemical reaction seemed impossible to stop. Isagi ponders the brutality of Sai's free kick. He realizes that Shido envisioned precisely where he wanted to shoot from. Even though Chigri foresaw that play and sprinted to intercept that, Sai adjusted the ball's trajectory by shooting to a position that Chigri was barely able to reach. By taking certain things into consideration, like Chigri's speed and Shido's desired shooting point, Sai in a split-second decision made the perfect threading pass, ensuring that the pass stayed within Shido's reach. Isagi experienced an epiphany. He realizes that what Sai has done is the same thing that he is striving for. Isagi wants to create the ideal plays by reflexive action. Shido, running at top speed, instinctively reacted to Sai's pass by performing a leaping volley over Chigri, which culminated by shooting a powerful drive shot. That wouldn't have been possible without the synchronization of Shido's reflexes and Sai's prolific playmaking abilities. While Blue Lock was unable to contain Shido's attitude, Sai is fully able to comprehend his capabilities, with their coordination causing devastating effect. Chigri suddenly falls to the ground, clutching his knee, and Isagi rushes over to check on him, and Chigri tells him that it's just a leg cramp, while he winces in pain. Nico also feels a stinging sensation in his ankle and drops to the ground as well. Ego notices his fallen players, and so he decides that it's time to make a change. The bench players look at him with surprise, and Anri asks Ego about who's going on. Ego explains that the team's balance has been disrupted and it needs to be restored. Isagi asks Chigri about his knee, and he apologizes to Isagi by saying that the second half has just started. He reflects on his performance and he understands that he underestimated the physical demands of football. He starts calling himself pathetic and regrets for not dedicating himself to the game. If only he had kept running. Ego has finally made the decision, and Nico and Chigri will be substituted out for Ryo and Hiyori. The two players run out onto the pitch. Chigri walks back to the bench with his head down. Ego notices the tears and disappointment on Chigri's face and again asks him if he has a problem with the substitution. Chigri, with a mix of frustration and sadness, tells him that he doesn't, and Ego reminds him that if he was going to be upset upset, he should have built up the stamina to last the entire match, and that his frustration is a result of his own choices. The commentators mentioned that Blue Lock wasn't just making 2 substitutions, but they are also rearranging their positions, with Hiyori switching with Otoya to play on the right wing and Ryo replacing Nico as the centre back. Ryo calls out to Nagi and he urges him to score, saying that he's better than this, and he emphasizes the urgency of winning this game, and Nagi agrees. Isagi and Rin prepare themselves as Blue Lock resumes the game. The play begins with Isagi in possession of the ball, but there's an electrifying change in the air as Blue Lock changes their tactics, now that Hiyori is on the offensive. Up until now, the previous strategy focused on showcasing individual talents with Rin at the center, but Hiyori's presence changes the entire formation. With his cool-headed vision and impeccable ball control, Hiyori can become the linchpin for the offense. Darai locks onto Hiyori, telling him that his escape is futile, but Hiyori tells him that he isn't trying to escape and that he fights differently. Isagi observes that while nobody is expecting Hiyori to win in a 1v1, his true strength lies in orchestrating flawless passes. Clashing with everything head on isn't the only way to show your ego. Kurisu receives Hiyori's pass and he's impressed by its precision and acknowledges his passing skills and tells him that he's only good at sending the ball away. Hiyori responds by saying that he can do much more than that, and he positions himself behind Kurisu to receive a subtle pass away from the defenders. Hiyori readies himself to shoot a lob pass to Nagi, and Isagi recognizes Hiyori's calm and precise left leg. In a reflexive move, Hiyori kicks a strong pass into the penalty area. Sendo compares the pass to one of size. As the ball looks like it's headed for Rin, it actually heads past him to Nagi. Nagi thanks Hiyori, but Kazuma tries to mark him. Nagi, having used Rin as bait, jumps into the air and taps the ball behind him towards Isagi. Isagi, using Rin as a shield, prepares to use his direct shot, but just as he does, Aiku quickly blocks it. Aiku reiterates that he's here to put a leash on Isagi, leaving him bewildered by the fact that he was able to get there. Despite changing their formation and improving off Nagi's pass, as long as he's in Aiku's zone, his shots are useless. The drama continues as Sai receives the ball to initiate the counter-attack. Kurisu sounds the alarm, warning them to be careful of any passes to Shido. Aryu and Ryo await the incoming attack, with Aryu telling him that it's their moment. Ryo recalls the conversation he had with Igo before coming onto the field. Igo makes his sole purpose of playing on the field clear, and that is to stop Shido. Ryo accepts his responsibility, telling Igo that he's been meticulously observing the Iron Wall Quartet. Ryo sets his sights on both Sai and Shido, waiting for their chemical reaction to spark. Sai shoots a pass to Shido, and Ryo springs forth into action. Ryo then copies Aiku's total defense, leaving everyone in amazement. With his chameleon-style defense, he clears the ball with a header, while Nagi praises him for his effort. Ryo is determined to use his ability to destroy Shido. Ryo clears the ball out of bounds. Ryo thinks to himself that he can only move according to his own limits, which allow him to copy any move up to 99% accuracy. Ryo is determined to win this match and to move back to being a striker again, because he's more than just a defender. His desire is to win and be with Nagi. Isagi thinks about Ryo's amazing performance with his chameleon defense and Hiyori playing as the anchor, which has allowed for Team Blue Lock's attacking formation to be more varied. The team has been rebalanced since they've been subbed in. However, Isagi still desires to score his own goal, but unless he breaks through Aiku's defense, he won't be able to build up the momentum, so he must find a path to crushing Aiku. Shido walks up to Sai, telling him that his last pass was very good, but he mentions how playing football with him makes him so excited that he compares it to the feeling of electricity pulsing through his brain. Sai is confused, and Shido tells him that it feels like this is the first time his freedom was understood by someone, and that he feels like a bang is coming. Sai tells him it's all well and good, but he still must score. The game resumes, and Shido says to himself that the world doesn't know him yet. Passes, tactics are all useless to him. For Shido Ryusei, football isn't just a sport, it's a biological phenomenon. Shido's weapon is his extreme spatial awareness that is always geared towards the goal, and with it he strives to steal all the goals so he may be known on the field, and he uses all of his being in order to achieve that penalty area perfection. If he's within the penalty area, he can see, feel and sense the goal even with his back to it. Shido rushes to the goal area, waiting for a pass from Sai Itoshi, but as soon as he receives the ball, Ryo immediately guards him, copying the skill of Kazuma. Shido mocks Ryo, saying that he should do impressions for a living. Ryo claps back at him, saying that he's losing to a copycat. Shido, frustrated, kicks the ball, which comes off Ryo's foot, allowing for Gagomori to easily catch it. Shido assesses his own performance and he thinks that he isn't exploding enough, and he notes that the act of passing down genes has been programmed into all living things. People connect with others, hurt others, and do things that make them remembered by others. There are those who create, and there are those who have dreams, and those who raise a family. It just so happened that for Shido Ryusei, his proof of existence is playing football. For Shido, a goal is fertilization, a shot is the seed, and the net is the egg. The pleasure from birthing a goal is what he calls an explosion. Sai does a super long pass which heads down the field, and Isagi tells his team that they must fall back. Shido dashes down the field ready to receive the pass. Shido is ready to shoot, but Gagomori leaves his post to come and headbutt the ball. As the ball remains in the air, there's a sudden sensation that he begins to feel. The demon senses a goal outside of the penalty area. Despite how far it is, the cells in his body are moving him, urging him to score a super goal. Shido without hesitation jumps into the air, readying himself, as Sai and Henri look at him with shock. Ego comments that the first one to enter the flow state is Shido. Shido then does a savage bicycle kick with intense force from near the halfway line. The kick terrifies the entire stadium while the ball cleanly lands into the net. Shido declares himself to the world, with the Japan under-20 leading by 3-2. Hi guys, thank you to everybody who tuned into this video. This video took much longer to make for me because I was just trying to improve my editing and just to create better content for you guys. I'm nearly done with the Blue Lock versus the under-20s, and I've already planned how I'm going to do the Neo Egoist League. Instead of parts like I'm doing it now, I've decided to do them as wholes, so one match will be covered in one video. Guys, thank you for all your support, man. Seriously, I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, stay blessed.